This is your daily dose of all things royal.
When it comes to a drama, I can only sort myself and I can't get anybody else to sort me out.
I don't know what to do.
Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. I hope you enjoyed that opener as much as I did creating it. Today's video is on the lighter, more fun side. We're diving into Meghan Markle's favorite tabloid, the one she's famously fed stories to. This week, Star magazine is at it again, splashing Prince Harry and Catherine on the cover for the second time in just 2 weeks. They kicked off this rather ridiculous narrative a fortnight ago, and now they're doubling down. Honestly, it feels like a deliberate campaign to slowly get everyone accustomed to the idea that Harry is inevitably heading back home to the UK. Let's break down the article together. I'll walk you through it, and I'd love to hear what you think. Harry and Kate. Trust, loyalty, and control. You know, you almost have to wonder, when Catherine becomes queen, are they still going to be calling her Kate? I sure hope not. Queen Kate doesn't sound as regal and royal as Queen Catherine. Don't you agree? Anyhow, out of respect to Catherine, I will call her Catherine throughout this article. The article begins. Prince Harry is grateful to Canada. During an early November trip to support the work of his Invictus Games Foundation, the British Army vet spoke at the 17th annual True Patriot Love Foundation National Tribute Dinner in Toronto, making a point to thank the Commonwealth nation for 2 gifts they've given him over the last decade. "This city will always mean a great deal to me. You provided a wife for me," he said, referring to how Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, was living there while shooting the TV show Suits as they secretly began dating in 2016. "And you hosted the Invictus Games in 2017, he added, calling both touchstones in my life. But as Invictus heads back to Britain, the next games are set for Birmingham, England in 2027, and Harry, 41, continues working to reconnect with his cancer-stricken father. His renewed ties to his homeland are putting pressure on his 7-year marriage. He is mending fences with his family, but is doing it without Meghan, a source tells Star, pointing to Harry's solo September meeting with Father King Charles III in London. It was their first face-to-face encounter in more than 18 months since the monarch was diagnosed with an undisclosed form of cancer. Though Meghan supports Harry reconciling with his dad, 77, before it's too late, the source confirms she's panicked and nervous about the future. There's worry the royals could poison Harry against her, ultimately destroying their little family over time. Those fears aren't unfounded. As Star previously reported, Prince William, 43, remains unwilling to bridge the divide with his only sibling. But his wife, Princess Catherine, 43, has quietly been in communication with her brother-in-law, slowly rebuilding a fragile trust ever since he reached out following her own cancer diagnosis last year. William hasn't softened towards Harry, despite Catherine's best efforts, so she's had no choice but to retain this relationship behind his back, the source explains. Yeah, I somehow doubt that. Nearly 6 years after the Sussexes fled Britain, for California, amid claims the firm was fueling a hate campaign against them in the UK press. The princess has emerged as a peacemaker. Catherine continues to see the good in Harry, says the source. She believes life's too short for grudges, particularly with Charles so ill. Catherine knows once the awful reality of the king's death comes to pass, it will hit William and Harry harder than anyone. Now more than ever, Catherine understands how fragile the monarchy and its image really are, especially after the institution suffered a blow last month as Prince Andrew, now Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, 65, faced renewed scrutiny over his relationship with the late Jeffrey Epstein and abuse survivor Virginia Giuffre, who, until her April suicide, maintained that Andrew sexually assaulted her in 2001 when she was 17. He's denied her claims. Amid the escalating scandal and calls for accountability, Charles stripped his brother of all his royal titles, including Prince and Duke of York, and forced him out of his crown estate home. Now, says the source, Catherine is saving Harry from being ostracized by his father, and Charles from a legacy as a king estranged from his son. Do you see how they're setting up the narrative here to pull on those heartstrings? You know, the excuse of, oh, this might be the last time he gets to see his father, and yeah, the king doesn't want to pass away without making amends, right? Like, who is going to challenge that, especially in the UK? Harry confirmed a shocking shift was in play when, a few days after he saw Charles in September, he told a reporter that moving forward, the focus really has to be on my dad. Harry also said he'd like to spend more time in the UK and take his kids, Archie 6 and little Betty 4. This week has definitely brought that closer, he admitted. Ideally, adds the source, he'd love to go back with Meghan and their children, but his wife has made it clear she still has zero interest in setting foot in the UK. Yeah, I don't think the British people are going to be too heartbroken about that, but she hasn't returned since Queen Elizabeth II's 2022 funeral. She knows it's the equivalent of entering the lion's den, says the source, so Harry will almost certainly be going alone. That suits Catherine just fine, as she continues to discreetly influence negotiations. For her, it's an opening to rekindle the warm feelings they shared. In his 2023 memoir Spare, Harry called Catherine the sister I'd never had and always wanted, without Meghan's watchful eye. It will certainly make things easier if Meghan isn't with him, says the source. You think? They'll be able to speak more freely without needing to walk on eggshells. After all, adds the source, the royals still believe Meghan is the main reason the family is estranged. Wonder why they would think that. It's no secret her critics think the California native is controlling, says the source. Oh, you mean the whole entire world? The common view amongst Harry's friends and loved ones is that he's still very much under Meghan's thumb. Former Vanity Fair editor and Royals author Tina Brown said as much last year, declaring Harry is pretty much in the thrall of his Duchess. From the start, she left him mesmerized, the source explains, and he allowed her to control his every move to a large degree. While allies see her influence as support, says the source, critics view Meghan as the ultimate manipulator. But in recent months, their dynamic has started to change, says the source, with Harry doing his own thing more, leaning into his philanthropic initiatives, frequently traveling outside the U.S. to highlight his charitable work, and now prioritizing a reconciliation with his father. Meghan, meanwhile, is busy reinventing herself as a businesswoman, promoting her as ever whatever food product line, and With Love, Meghan Netflix entertaining series, December 3rd holiday special. As they continue down separate paths, says the source, it's making Meghan feel pretty uncomfortable. She's grateful for everything she and Harry have built together since starting over in America. Meghan loves their life in Montecito, where they enjoy relative privacy on their 5.4-acre, $14.65 million estate, says the source. She's got everything she needs with her mom close by. In addition to celeb friends like Kris Jenner, she's also become part of the community. In March, she gushed about the joy of taking her kids to classmates' birthday parties, scheduling play dates with other working moms, and going to group yoga classes. She also just relaunched her acting career. On November 5th, Meghan was spotted on the Southern California set of Close Personal Friends, confirming that 8 years after retiring from Suits, she'll make a cameo in the rom-com starring Brie Larson, Lily Collins, Jack Quaid, and Henry Golding. These people are so ridiculous. Meghan is relaunching her acting career by playing herself in a cameo appearance. Come on. Back in the UK, Catherine is keeping busy too. As the future queen continues to quietly work to mend the broken bonds between Harry and his family in Britain, where he'll return in January for another phone hacking trial against a British newspaper, she is also preparing her now annual Christmas Carol service at London's Westminster Abbey. Tellingly, the theme for the December 5th event is Love in All Its Forms. She announced November 12th, saying, "As we approach the Christmas season, we are reminded of the power of togetherness." While Catherine's emphasis on love and connection sets a hopeful tone, the reality for Harry remains complicated. Reuniting with his family is his number one priority now. But that ultimately could come at the cost of his happiness with Meghan, says the source. The way things are headed, the marriage is in real danger of unraveling, and right now, there doesn't seem to be any solution to this gigantic problem. And that was the end of this cover story. Here's what I think. I think that this is propaganda coming out of Montecito, and whoever is managing Harry's PR now is on board with getting this narrative to stick in the sense of people accustomed to Harry going back home. As I said, I mean, they keep putting these stories out there and honing in on Harry's focus being reconciling with his family. Now, if you notice, this article was delicately bashing Meghan, not going full-blown, full max on her, because I do think Harry does not want any of the wrath that would come for him if he all-out waged a media war against her. I don't think he wants to endure what his mother had gone through. Also, I think there is a level of fear of what Meghan knows about the family. So, in addition to retaliation onto Prince Harry, there could be retaliation to the rest of the family that could be far more damaging than calling them racist. What I also think is happening here is using Catherine as an excuse to then now promote Meghan's crap as well as her stupid show coming up. So all of this is beneficial to the Sussex camp. Now, do I think that there's a level of communication that Harry has with the palace? Yeah, I do. I don't think that ever stopped. What's debatable is Catherine having discreet communication with Prince Harry and not telling William. I don't see that happening. Either she's having communications with Harry and William knows about it, or they're just not communicating. What I think is likely happening here is that Prince Harry is communicating with the royal household, not necessarily directly with Catherine. But hey, what do I know? The only thing that I can say with certainty is that we definitely were jerked around. I mean, there were so many lies that have been told. I think the question that we all have is, why did they allow this to go on? Many of you know what I think about this whole thing and what we are witnessing, but I'd love to know your thoughts. What do you think is going on? Definitely let me know your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe and I'll talk to you later. Bye!
Such a fraud.